Labas rytas, kaip sekasi, mano vardas yra Lawrence. Well, as you can tell, I'm walking along the docks where all the boats are decked, or let's say have been docked, because I am on my way to the ferry terminal where I can ride a 5-minute ride from Klaipėda to Smiltynė, because by the time I reach Smiltynė, I will go down south towards Juodkrante, and here's the reason why. I'm going to Juodkrante to visit Raganu Kalnas, where the paganism takes place, where all the natural spirits take place, and this is where all the magic happens, especially when it comes to honoring the gods and the goddesses. Let it be Perkunas, Saula, Menuo, and Gabia, Jates, Agle, and many others. There is so much to see, and so we are going to Raganu Kalnas. This is Leivas Forel, built in 1932. This is the boat which goes directly from Klaipėda to Juodkrante. But what I'm really planning to go is to take the ferry, which goes from here to Smiltynė, so that hopefully I might just as well find a bus so that I can potentially travel southwards towards Juodkrante. And so, in the land of Neringa, named after the giantess who built this strip of land to protect the fishermen from the Baltic Sea monster. And there are a lot of legends to tell, Baltic gods and goddesses to interact with and to honor. And so, that's what it is. This is where we're going, down southwards to Raganu Kalnas. Now I can chill and relax until the ferry arrives to pick us all up from here to Smiltynė. And then I'm gonna have to wait and see if there is a bus I can take to go down to Juodkrante, if there is a bus station where they have a ticket. But if not, then I might just as well have to walk all the way down south to Juodkrante, which will be a very long road ahead. But I really think it's gonna be very easy, and it's not gonna be very difficult. And I'm very confident to say this because I just need to keep it in good spirits and all that. Of course, being a pagan, it isn't about faith, because faith happens to be very secondary, because it's all to do with action and about interaction, and it's all about connecting to nature whenever it comes to Mother Earth. Let's say Zemina. Here we have the trees and the land and the water, and also the 5 elements within paganism, and so that's the reason why I'm going to Raganu Kalnas today, because this is what it's all about. Smiltynė from Klaipėda, because as you could see here, this is Neringa, named after the giantess in Lithuanian mythology and legend. Yeah, if you knew the story already, you will know by now. But of course, this is the Coronian Lagoon, which back in the old times, this is the place where all the fishermen can just as well do some fishing in peace. You know, separated from the Baltic Sea, practically speaking, which just happens to be true. But nowadays, if you look here, this is where all the cargo ships are docked. But of course, if we go further down south, this is where we go further down south to Juodkrante, where they have Raganu Kalnas. But if you go further down south from Juodkrante, they will be heading towards Nida. And Nida is a town in Neringa, where it's very close to the Russian border. But I wouldn't recommend going there if I were you, unless you happen to be pulled up by the road, so for that matter. But anyway, off we go, Raganu Kalnas. Welcome to Juodkrante, where Raganu Kalnas is going to take place. Where I'm going now is that I'm going to walk down southwards, heading towards Raganu Kalnas. I think this is it. This is it. The entrance towards Raganu Kalnas. Because if you look here, there is a signpost with a wooden sculpture of a witch pointing towards that direction. Yep, we're getting very close to the entry to Raganu Kalnas. Guess what? I'm so thrilled about this. I'm really thrilled. Looks like I really found myself a very special place. Yeah, in the heart of nature. And so, this is where we're going, upstairs. And look, wood carvings. Do you see these benches? This represents Raganu Kalnas. They even have mythological creatures. Here we go. Raganu Kalno Medinio Sculpturo Expositia. Yep. Exposition of the wooden sculptures, the Hill of Witches. One of the oldest parabolic dunes in Juodkrante is the Hill of Witches. It is said that witches and demons used to host parties there since time immemorial. Jonas Daniels, a local forester, suggested placing these characters from legends on the hill. Between 1979 and 1981, during the course of folk art workshop, 50 wood carvers created 71 sculptures. The exposition consists of more than 80 oak sculptures, and it is replenished and renewed on a regular basis. And here we go, entering Raganu Kalnas. And look, she must be Agle. I think this is the goddess of snake, or maybe that's Gemina. I think so. We'll see. Oh no, that's Agle, because you see the Zaltis, Agle being the goddess of snake, and here it is, Raganu Kalnas, the entry to the Witch's Hill. Let's go, people. And so it begins. Our new epic adventure through the mystical forests, home to the gods and the goddesses, also home to the witches and demons, where they held parties, keeping secret from pious Christians and stuff like that. And look, there's this mythological figure, the one with the big beard, that is Pasakurio. That's Pasakuria, Kurio, some sort of character, like what you see in the legends. And look, there's the Zaltis, being associated with Agle and also with Saula, who is right above us. Nuaseno Zmonish Mego Raganu Kalna Ant Jo Jonenas Svesdavo Ship Sociedavo Lordias Dalias Miestra 1979-1980 Matheus Isdabino E Pashaku Legandu Motives. Yep. Legends and motivation. You can just as well feel the spirit within nature, because I can breathe it. Neringa's Gimina. Here we see the two towers, which represents the Amber Castle. I think the one with the Trojan, I don't think it's Perkunas, but someone else. Although, I would assume that this must be home to Juodkrante, because there's a famous legend which is written in the 19th century, which is one of the surviving elements to paganism, that there is a love between Goddesses and Juodkrante. Goddesses, being a fisherman, came out to do some fishing only to encounter the queen of the underwater called Juodkrante, who appears to be a mermaid. And so they fall in love, they spend time in the Amber Castle, Perkunas got really furious, and then he just shattered the Amber Castle, and that's why, up to today, between Palanga to Klaipėda, you see a pile of amber stones everywhere. And look, you see the witches, the carved stone of witches as well, and with the symbol of Solar. And here, you see two figures, I think there might be witches as well, but I don't know. And here, let's continue ahead through the forest of Raganu Kalnas. Here we go. Here is the tower where you see a carved figure of a witch, and you see a broomstick below. Yeah, if you look at Lithuanian history, being the last country which is holding on to paganism. Witches are pretty much tolerated in Lithuania, especially up to the 17th century. That is because even though that Lithuania converted to Christianity ceremoniously, but the local population, being hold on to its pagan beliefs and also to its old practices, witches are pretty much tolerated in Lithuania, which, unlike most countries, you know, Poland, Germany, Spain, England, or even in the colonies in America, where witches, they have been completely slaughtered. But in Lithuania, along with Ireland, and sometimes in Wales, that witches are pretty much tolerated because they were seen as if that they were healers, that they use all the herbal medicines to heal the sick and the wounded. And so this is the reason why here specifically in Lithuania, witches, they're not evil beings. They're actually just intelligent women who knew how to create medicine, connected to nature in order to find a way to heal the sick. And it all comes from here. This must be Neringa, the giantess who fought against the Baltic Sea monster. You see the figurehead over there? This must be the monster. And below, you see the two mermaids being presentable. And on the other side, there is a tower which has the Žaltis, and the other tower representing Žaltis, which is associated with Agla, the goddess of snakes. And of course, Agla and Žaltis, they became legendary figures in the 19th century since the Romantic Age. It's how paganism in Lithuania survived up to its time, because it was the time when the pagans, they didn't have their own written language because they have an oral tradition of storytelling, and especially whenever it comes to worshipping the gods, being connected to nature. But of course, we all know that Žaltis being associated with Žemina and also with Saula, you give a bowl of milk to Žaltis, and the Žaltis drinks it and would become a pet and a protector for the lovers, especially for the loved ones who are married or even couples in love, and Saula will give the blessing. But if the snake is hurt, then Saula would be very upset and would rain fire onto someone who would offend Žaltis. But of course, in the 19th century, well, let's say in the Romantic Age, Žaltis has been treated as some sort of character who became a lover of Agla. Agla, who is this beautiful lady who becomes a goddess, a wife, and becomes some sort of necromancer with all the magic living in the Amber Palace underwater. And of course, look, this must be Agla Žalčių Karalienė. This is Agla with the symbol of Saula above. And here it is. This is Neringa. She's the giantess who actually added sand and soil and also seeds to make the trees grow on the land. This is to protect the fishermen and also the local population from the Baltic Sea monster who has been wreaking havoc on the fishing economy. And so Neringa, being a very kind-hearted giantess, she is doing everything she can to make sure that everyone is happy and everyone lives in peace so that they can just as well live their own lives. And here it is. This is Neringa, the one pouring sand and soil between the Coronian Lagoon and the Baltic Sea. And if we go next, now who's this figure? Naglis. Here's some sort of figure with a big club, and this is carved in 1979. This is also Neringa, also protecting the fishermen. You see the sailing boats, and she's pulling the rope of the sailing boat, making sure that whenever a fisherman in a boat is facing very rough terrain, she's here to help.